Marvel's new series Hellhunters just completely changed Ghost Rider's origin story and put him in a Second World War era team of heroes called the Howling Commandos, which has the likes of Nick Fury, Peggy Carter, and even Wolverine. Now, the Mutant has several war stories wrapped around him, but that wasn't the case with Ghost Rider Sal Romero. The first issue of Hellhunters looked great to me, and it also introduced the origin stories of the undead Nazi bad guys, as well as the origin story of Ghost Rider, which is what we're gonna explore in this video. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means an awful lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Undying Champions of the Reich. The story begins in Kaliningrad, Russia. This time is the peak of the Second World War, more specifically the chilly December of 1943. And remember, we are in Russia, so the winter is wintry enough even for the likes of Santa Claus. Anyway, the scene opens with a few German soldiers running with their lives. Who are they running from? Well, it's an army nearly as cold and deadly as the Nazis, the Russians. But as soon as the Russian soldiers reach a Wendigo's altar, they stop. The leader of the group asks the others to stop the tank and start moving back before announcing that the Germans won't make it any longer because the Nazis are worse than dead, and he was right, but not entirely. Anyway, without the Russians on their trail, the Germans moved forward in the thick snow until they reached an abandoned cabin, where they hoped to find some shelter and respite. Altman was grievously wounded, and Bruckner wanted to leave him behind, for he feared Altman would slow the group down. On the other hand, the leader of the Germans did not want to leave a man behind for the Russians to find and hunt, or worse, question. But as they moved forward, they encountered an undead horse chained to a tree. It said 6 little dead boys playing soldier in the snow. The creature announces their fate. You and your men are dead and damned for the murder of a nation of innocents. The moment your mucus freezes in your throats, you'll smell your own meat cooking in the spits of hell. Needless to say, the Germans were scared to death. The shock of the scene would have killed them instead of the cold, harsh weather. But the evil spirit does give them a chance. It says to the German leader, "I can save you, your men as well." All they had to do was carry the spirit out of the stinking cage, and upon doing so, the spirit promised to grant them eternal life. The man pointing a gun at the spirit asks, "Will you save our souls as well?" But he does not get an affirmative or desirable answer. You see, the spirit tells them that their souls were beyond salvation, but they could have their bodies. In fact, they could become immortal and powerful, the undying champions of the Reich. But the German leader denies the offer, saying, "I will not trust the lives of my men to a lying demon," and bang, he falls down. How? Well, he was shot by one of his own. The next panel shows an injured Bruckner with a pistol in hand, still fuming because of the recently fired shot. He tells the spirit that he and his friends accepted the offer. The undead horse says, "Come closer, Hauptmann Bruckner, and receive life everlasting." The creature bites his neck, seemingly killing him, only to breathe new undead life into him. Bruckner's eyes grew icy blue, and he attacked his friends, bestowing the same fate onto them as he had just experienced. This was the story behind the creation of the undying champions of the Reich. But we haven't met the man of the hour, right? When does he come in to defeat these evil supernatural soldiers? And what's the backstory of the Rider? 6 months have passed now. The setting is Nazi-occupied France. American soldiers were flying high above in the French airspace, waiting to alight their plane. Aboard the plane were Romero and Cruz, 2 men who met on the job and became close friends in nearly no time. Cruz was super excited to join his colleagues on the ground. He wanted to give the Nazis hell, even wanted to take Hitler's little mustache and wear it around. But little did he know that he was soon gonna get killed by the forces of hell. You see, the undying champions of the Reich attacked their plane with a bolt of ice-cold energy beam, and the plane exploded, killing everyone but Romero. He managed to unfurl his parachute, but ended up hitting a canopy of trees and came crashing down, gravely injured, bones broken, blood dripping from every inch of his body, only to be met with the undying champions of the Reich. These undead Nazis, they had to be present at Baron Zurdan's, but as the saying goes, there's always time for a bit of sport. Hauptmann Bruckner bit Romero in the neck, killing him almost instantly, and Romero stayed there still hanging from his chute, dead and rotting, until the spirit of vengeance came to him in the form of a raven. The spirit offered vengeance on his killers, who also killed his entire squad. This whole scene looked a bit like the whole Crow comics. Yeah, the one written by James O'Barr. Anyway, Romero accepted the offer. No sooner did he say yes did the chains of fire ensnared his body, his eyes burning bright with a fiery spirit of vengeance. A fire so strong it could make every sinner pristine. This ordeal went on for a while, but in the end, and Romero rose as Ghost Rider. Almost instantly, he got attacked by another group of soldiers, but the attack stopped as soon as it began because the leader of these soldiers noticed that this man on fire was wearing the American colors. These people were Sergeant Nick Fury from the U.S. Army Rangers, Sebastian Zardos, aka Soldier Supreme, you know what that sounds like, and we had Peggy Carter, and the trio were collectively called the Howling Commandos. Turns out that these people and Ghost Rider were after the same bad guys, the undying champions of the Reich. Naturally, they joined hands, and it was the Howling Commandos that gave our man his first Harley. That's where the first issue ends, and yes, the next issue is titled The Best There Is at What He Does. If you haven't figured it out yet, it is being spoken about the most iconic and coolest mutant ever, Wolverine. So yeah, I'll see you again when the second issue comes out. If you like our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.